My buddy Brian is doing the interviewing this time. So that's why I'm on this side of the screen. I'm Robert Brown. I'm a web designer. I've been in this business in various forms since 1998. My original goal was to be a commercial artist. And so with the advent of computers and the internet coming about, websites just made sense. You have to see it in your mind's eye, and you have to be able to make that real. And in commercial art, most of the time, you're trying to see what's in the customer's mind's eye. So it's not even your vision you're trying to bring to life, it's theirs.
You know, your tagline with your business is, forget the guy you know and call a pro. What does actually being a pro mean to you?
The first lesson I think I would ever teach someone who's going to go into a business where they're doing creative work is never fall in love. Because whatever you create, they have to love. It has to be what they love. My commercial art teacher taught me that the root of creativity is discipline. That's the boundary. The boundary that you're working in. Within that, you can be as creative as you want to be, but you still have to fit into that space.
Right.
And that's where your creativity really kicks in. And your customer, most of the time, they're the ones setting the discipline. They're the ones saying it has to be reminiscent of these other things that I've seen before. You don't stop when you're happy, you stop when they're happy. If I can see how a customer reacts to it, I can tell, am I warmer, am I colder? When I'm working with a customer, I can tell because they react differently. That's the magic. I'm not afraid to do the work in front of a customer. Their eyes light up when it's right. When it comes to websites, people don't always realize that the order of operations is really important. If you talk to them about building a house, they would completely get it. No one would ever ask you to build a house and then put the foundation underneath it. No one would say, well, get the house built and I'll tell you if I like it.
Right.
Because that's, you end up building the house a bunch of times.
And I love your analogy about building the house because since I'm in digital marketing, I see a lot of websites that are like some of these houses we see. They're just thrown up and on the outside it looks good, but the foundation's not actually there.
My process is this. The very first thing I want to determine is what are we trying to say? And who are we saying it to? That's the decision maker for all other decisions. And so when people say, well, just build me a website, just make it a nice one. It's impossible because I don't know what you're trying to say. Everyone has a message that's a little different. And they have a reason for being in that business that's a little different. They didn't just accidentally decide to give their life to that cause.
Right.
They did it on purpose. And a lot of times that business is their dream. And so they may have the nicest trucks, they may have the nicest shirts and hats, they may have the best business cards on the planet, but no one's ever going to see any of that until they see their website.
What is a good website?
A good website doesn't take long to communicate the message. When you see it, its first impression tells you whatever it is they were trying to get through. If they want you to see we're a big operation, we have 600 trucks in our fleet, then that needs to be the first thing you see. You don't need to have to ask yourself, well, what do they do?
When I see you interact with these folks, I notice that there's a certain amount of love that you give these customers. Why do you think that's important?
My job is to represent them. I have to be their greatest salesman. I have to be able to put what they care about out there. And so I really kind of have to know why they do what they do. I have to know what makes it special. I have to know how long we've been doing it, how good we are at it. Did we win awards for it? It all culminates in the website because I can only control that first impression they get. And if I know every customer walking through the door, this is what they care about the most, then I can put that in front of them. People look at me kind of funny sometimes when I'm with them because I stop and look at things that they walk right past every day. The thing I'm attuned to, the thing I'm looking for is things that are authentic, things that are interesting, things that have beauty, maybe in a mundane place, maybe in a place where you wouldn't think beauty would be.
Especially a stack of pipes, right?
Absolutely. A stack of pipes can be beautiful.
To the right person.
The guys who run the pipe yard, who actually drive the forklifts, when I told them what I was looking at, they said, well, you know, in the early morning, when the sun comes up, you can see steam rising up off the pipes as the sun hits it. And it's beautiful. And these are guys that they've never been asked how they feel about the aesthetics of their workplace. That's not something they talk about. They drive forklifts for a living. But they recognize that they get to see some beautiful things at different times of day. And when I capture that and show it for the customer, it gives a whole different look. When they have piles of dirt, they don't always say, I need you to make this dirt really cinematic. That's not usually what they say. And yet, when I go shoot piles of dirt, I shoot it 3 or 4 different ways because I want options so that when I get back, I can make the best piles of dirt. You know, most of the customers I deal with, they compete with people who have a lot more advertising dollars than them. And so a lot of times they're competing with people that can afford to look really good. But when I get done with them, they look as good as the big shots. I want them to be as proud of their website as they are their business.
Is there just one website for a certain industry that you
That I haven't done?
Yeah, that you haven't done that you really want to?
Probably something in the national parks.
Okay.
You know, national parks don't let you fly drones. You have to have special permission.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you can't, commercially, you cannot fly inside national parks. And so if I were working with the Park Service, that would be pretty good.
I've seen some of the drone footage that you've done for certain customers, and one that always sticks out in my mind is you did a video for a company that makes tarps for dump trucks. Now, you could feel every bit of love and attention that you put into that video. When you were flying over, it almost seemed like classical music should have been playing while it's flying over the top of this tarp, you know? When you work with each of these customers, and what is your favorite part of the experience from beginning to end? What's your favorite part?
My favorite part is when I sit the customer down in the studio and we pull up their site on the big screen, and it's the first time they've seen all the pieces together. It's always awesome to see how they react, because they look at it and they say, I can't believe that's me. I can't believe that's my business. We look better than our competition.
That's the point, right?
That's it.
Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.